Hello.
Hi, Andre. What's happening?
Hey, Shannon. A lot's happening. So I am seeing Kim Petras next
Shut
week.
up.
Woo ah,
Oh,
bitches.
oh my God.
I'm excited. I am an ABG. That stands for a big gay. So it's very exciting. Feels very fulfilling. I'm gonna see her for the second time, mind you, because I am that gay, and it's just good. It's just cool. It's cool. It's gonna be spooky because she released like another Halloween EP earlier
Mm,
this month, so it's kind of exciting. I different set list. It's gonna be cool.
yeah.
So that's what's happening in my mind. What
No,
about you?
I haven't listened to her music in a while. I'll have to check out that album. This is not sponsored by Kim Petras, but I,
I wish.
I do want to know, is she queer or is it just like big gays love her?
Both.
Oh, okay.
She is a trans woman,
Oh,
so
good
she
for
was
her.
born a boy. It's crazy. Yeah, you really can't tell. She passes very well. I don't know if that's a controversial statement. I don't think it is, and she does. But like her big thing is she's originally from Germany, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she was actually kind of like famous back there, not for her music, but because at the age of 16, she was the one of the youngest people ever to undergo sex reaffirming surgery.
Hmm.
So she had bottom surgery
Hmm.
basically, and that's very young.
Yeah.
Um, and so that was like a big thing in Germany, and that was like reported a bunch. And then like completely unrelated, she also liked music. She started doing music back then. It was way different than what she does now, and I guess like what almost 10 years later, she finally broke into the American market, and now we listen to her and we stand her.
And we're
So it's
blessed.
it's really it's cool. Like I think a lot of the admiration. I mean, she makes genuinely good music, but I don't think people would have found that genuinely good music maybe if it wasn't attached to her trans identity.
Hmm.
I don't know. Like I could be wrong, but I feel like the fact that well,
Uh,
actually,
well, I found it and I had no idea
what?
until just now. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was gonna say. I think people can find it. I think though the part because you were asking like, oh well, why the gays love her specifically? Well, you weren't asking that, but I'm saying that now.
hmm.
I think a big part is that like why her, and not some other like just cis woman that looks the same, sounds the same.
Yeah.
I think a big part is the trans identity, but I wouldn't say that's all of it or that's the sole reason why people find her. But yeah, like it's a big deal. I mean, what other trans artists do you know that are even remotely mainstream, right?
Hmm.
So yeah. Hi everyone, welcome to Trans Talk. It's episode 41, and today we're talking about aliens.
I didn't like that
Uh,
transition at all, Andre. I did not enjoy that. I think that's problematic. And that's not a joke.
uh,
No, but seriously, like I think that's really cool. You know, she's just doing her thing. She's living her life. We are talking about alien abduction, completely unrelated. You asked how I'm doing. I'm doing okay. I'm pretty much the same as usual, except I have been thinking a lot about horror and just how much I love horror. And it's a good time. I think finally October hit me this late in the season when I was like, oh, like I'm decorating for a reason and I'm like engaging in this for a reason. But I'm ready. I'm ready to be spooked.
Dude, that's cool. I can't say that it hit me at the beginning of the month either. If anything, it was also recent for me. Like I've been watching a lot more scary movies and just researching stuff about scary movies and listening to scary stories or reading stuff on Reddit or like unexplained mysteries, that kind of stuff. Like the episode that we did on unexplained mysteries a couple episodes ago, that was really fun for me. Even though we fucked up and we ended up doing the same thing, I still had a lot of fun because that stuff is some of my favorite stuff. Like that more than aliens or ghosts. Like I love that stuff, but that's not the stuff that I consume on the regular. Like
Yeah.
on the regular to spook myself, I usually will go on Reddit or I'll watch a YouTube video about an unexplained mystery. Oftentimes they're unexplained internet mysteries. So it's all like that kind of lore, like internet lore is really amusing to me.
Mm.
I don't know. I think it's just because we're children of the 21st century. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Um, but we stand aliens nonetheless. They still are my first love, forever will be. So that's what we're talking about today. But anyway, I hope everyone liked last episode 40, Halloween in all caps, because it's a big deal. We put our heart and soul into it, and we wanted to title it after the iconic holiday because we know that's the only reason you guys listen to us, because you also stand Halloween, or at least I hope so. I can't imagine someone who like completely hates everything spooky listening to us solely because they think we're funny, because come on. So
I think
anyway.
honestly we probably need to do a rebrand with our logo, because it just
I know we've talked about this.
It conveys a certain edge that is not applicable to what we're doing. I think we need like a bubblegum purple little look with maybe maybe some little vampire things.
What?
I don't know.
I'm gonna work on something, and I'm gonna send you a couple samples right after I get rid of the pumpkin that we have going on right now. Which, by the way, I think is going in the right direction. Not only because Halloween is coming up, but also because it's far more silly. It's literally a cartoon fucking pumpkin with a logo in it. So I think that's the route we should be going. It expresses the clownery that we're engaged in, the clownery of it all.
We hope that by episode 5, everyone has realized that this is fully like a pop culture.
I know.
Diva podcast based on horror.
This is just where like our very gay like alter egos come. Shannon isn't even gay. It doesn't matter. Like it just comes out. It's there. It's out in the open.
You do it for Degina.
Okay. I do it. We do it for Degina. God bless. Okay, everyone. Welcome to episode 41. Only 9 more to go till 50. We need to do something big. I need to kill Shannon with the Ouija board.
Please do.
Well, we're gonna work on that.
Just hit me over the head with
it. So today we're talking about alien abductions, and we have so much energy today. What happened?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't even drink coffee anymore. Okay, so alien abductions. Shannon's gonna get us started, but I have a real spooky for you guys too as well. Shannon, go ahead and spook my ass.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you brought up your ass, because a lot of people believe that alien abductions in one way. And I mean, do they always? I guess sometimes, but we're talking reproductive organs, and I don't know why I brought that up, because that's not what I'm covering in my case today. I just thought it was important.
Listen, that was a segue. It was a segue. You tried. We applaud.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So don't get probed unless it's consensual. Are we going to have a conversation about aliens and their misunderstanding of consent at one point? Because that seems like an important episode.
Is that what straight people like call gay sex? Like, don't get probed.
Oh man, I don't know.
We will have a conversation. Okay, so unironically, we literally will have a short conversation after my case about a little something about like probing in general. So yeah.
Okay, good. So we are going to talk about probing today. I'm glad I didn't just bring that up for no reason. I'm going to be covering 3 cases that take place in Mississippi. And I don't know if I can cover all 3 today, but I promise I will get to it eventually, if not today. Okay. The first one is extremely well known, except, you know me, I didn't know it. And I had read about it previously, but I never went too deep into it. So this is kind of like a deep dive into this case. It's one of the more famous ones because it's not that it's not easily disproven. It's just that it doesn't have that many skeptics that are readily available to be like, no, this didn't happen and here's why. And given the fact that I'm talking about 3 that occurred in the same general area during the same general time, I think that this is a really, really good way of saying like, hey, this lends credence to the existence of something weird going on. Whether it's aliens or interdimensional beings, something's going on. So I want to talk about this incident in Pascagoula, Mississippi, the abduction of Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker Jr. Okay. So this article was written by Jillian Brockwell in the Washington Post. This was actually a 2019 article, which is pretty awesome. But so she talks about the main incident happening on October 11th. So we're in October, spooky, 1973. So Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker Jr. are co-workers at a shipyard. Hickson is the foreman. And so this is where they're at. They're at the shipyard and something happens. So before we get to that, we're going to fast forward a little bit. They go to the sheriff's department after this incident, completely frantic, and they're telling them, we just got abducted by aliens. They had a puncture wound in one arm, both of them, and the men passed polygraph tests, and the police still to this day insist that they fully believe them. And so that's just kind of the mindset I want you going into this as we talk about it.
Okay, one, that was new. Okay, you spoiled like the aftermath before even that. But listen, I kind of like it. It's kind of interesting. It's just like, now we're gonna get into the meat.
Well-
Also, the fact that the police believe these
Yeah.
men, like, that's new, kind of, right? Like, I don't hear that
I
a
didn't
lot.
even spoil the good stuff. I just spoiled like what they said because what actually like
Okay.
they say they saw is way more interesting because we know, they had to have been abducted. So this is on a Saturday and they're actually working in a shipyard next to the river and it's on a historical marker. And because of that, that's one of like the best documented cases because people are really interested in what this might mean. So basically, they were fishing after work at an abandoned boat launch nearby, and this is really dark out. They're just, living their best life, fishing after work. Hickson says, I was just getting ready to get some more bait when I heard a zipping sound. I looked up and saw a blue flashing light. Calvin turned around too. We saw a 30-foot long object with a little dome on top. And that quote is directly from 1975, the same news, the Washington Post, which is kind of interesting. So it's been covered a lot, but that's what they saw. So it was hovering above the ground. And this is really weird. I guess we can kind of have a conversation about this too. So the object is hovering, and out comes 3 creatures also hovering. Yeah, so that's really interesting. The men suddenly felt paralyzed as though no matter what, they couldn't literally move. Like, it wasn't as though they were scared. It was as though something was stopping them from moving. And these creatures, which I'll kind of get into what they look like a little bit later, but they have pincer-type claws, and they grabbed them with it, still hovering, and pulled them towards the object. Parker said that he floated inside. So,
Damn.
yeah. Hickson said that they were subjected to a physical exam by something that looked like a big eye that made a constant mechanical sound that buzzed throughout the whole exam. And then they were dropped off right back where they had been picked up. And Hickson found Parker standing up, arms raised to the sky and screaming. They ran for help. And so that's what happened, or that's what they say happened. When they go to the sheriff's office and they tell them this, at first they're kind of like, yeah, you must be drunk. And they recorded this whole thing. They thought that maybe they would get done telling lies, like they would get bored of it. But they talked for hours and hours and talking about how scared they were. And the captain, Glenn Ryder, of the sheriff's county there, or sheriff's department, this is a direct quote from him in the Post. We did everything we knew to try to break their stories. If they were lying to me, they should be in Hollywood. Which, that's just a witness account. You can take that with a grain of salt if you want. Mm-hmm. Okay. So,
I take these things like unsalted. Just straight up no flavor. I don't give a shit. I believe it.
yeah.
No spice.
So, one UFO investigator from Northwestern University flew down to kind of talk to them and figure what was going on. And he basically said that the story checked out, it made sense. But other people were saying, well, it could have been sleep paralysis, you could have been having hallucinations. Parker was a younger dude. He might have been suggestible and maybe he was just convinced to do it. But I don't know, there are some things that kind of make you question it. So Hickson, who's 42 and the boss of Parker, he's like a pretty well-known dude in the small town. And he would just tell people about this whole thing. He published a book in 1983 and it obviously affected his life. Like, he had a family and stuff. People knew who he was. So that's kind of a lot to risk on something. And I'm not saying people won't do that. People do all kinds of crazy things. But that's just something to think about. Parker, he was 18 when it happened. And so he was just working there for extra money. And he also said that he had passed out at the beginning of the whole affair. And so he couldn't remember what happened, which is why a lot of people think, well, maybe he was just being told by Hickson, you know, he's a young dude. Maybe he was convinced, you know, if he was passed out, then how does he really know? But I'm not sure. Because another time he says that he did remember what happened. And he says this in 2018. Years after the initial saying I had passed out. So who knows? So what he said was that he was really, really afraid that the aliens had infected him with something. So when he got home from the sheriff's department, he took a bath in bleach.
Okay.
Yeah. Fully crazy. But I mean, you don't know what the aliens did to him, so maybe that was the right decision.
True. Yeah.
So another thing to take into consideration is that Hickson didn't get rich from this at all. That didn't happen. And Parker, he ended up fleeing, and he got married, and he picked up a job, and he would quit a job if anyone recognized him. Hickson actually did die in 2011 of heart failure, I'm fairly certain. And now Parker is in his 60s. And now he's beginning to talk about it more and more after Hickson's death, as though, you know, coming out in the wake of that and being like, yeah, this did happen. Kind of advocating for that. So what else is strange is that other people started to come forward and say that the Mississippi Clarion Ledger, that's the newspaper, they saw an unidentified flying object with flashing blue lights going up and down the Pascagoula River, and they didn't tell anyone because they thought that people would think that they're crazy. So apparently Pascagoula River is just a center of something weird going on, or everyone's full of shit.
Or it's not like the place necessarily, but just the aliens just randomly pick that place. And so now people attribute it to something about the place's history, but it might not be that necessarily. It might just be that the aliens kind of just pick a spot to, I don't know, like probe and release, and that happened to be it.
Yeah.
We'll touch on this later, but basically, like, something I was going to touch on at the end was that, like, we do all kinds of tests on animals that they find incomprehensible because they're just animals. Like, who's to say that we're not just that to the aliens, and that's why we don't get what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Like
I mean, yeah, we do like catch and release, or like, I don't remember what it's called, but like, basically like catch and release, like
you
testing
spay them so that they don't breed.
I mean, kind of like, yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't get it, and it's not like we kill them, and like, yeah, it could just be a random place that decided to do it at.
Yeah, I don't know. But one thing that's interesting is these ufologists, James Harder and J. Allen Hynek, they interviewed them, and they actually hypnotized them, and their conclusion was that they for certain experienced an extraterrestrial phenomenon, and it must have been really frightening. So that's the end of that story. It's one of the more well-known ones for obvious reasons. It was really held in high regard by the police and a lot of people around the area, and they weren't challenged very much on it. But I don't know. What I find most interesting isn't really the location. It's more the fact that the aliens are described as something different than what you usually hear about. Like pincer-like claws. Like, what? That's not like any gray I've ever heard of, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it might not be Grace, or maybe the Grace evolved, or maybe the Grace have friends that do their lab experiments for them.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe there's more than one race of aliens on Earth doing experiments on people.
Maybe. But I don't know. And also they were hovering, which I think in one of our earlier episodes we talked about Betty Andreessen, and I'm fairly certain those aliens were hovering as well, but they were grays. So, yeah, I'm just not sure.
Interesting. Maybe they just come from like a costume party.
Yeah, maybe it was Halloween for them. It wasn't October. So, shall I continue?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this next article is called Strange Objects Maneuvers Near Nuclear Shipbuilding Disturbing Navy. This is by two authors, Robert Klin and David Branch. And as you have probably realized by now, it takes place in Pascagoula, Mississippi. So, November 6th, 1973, there is.
The same year?
Is it the same year?
Yeah, it is.
Let me check. Yeah, you're right. It is. So this is November. So the
Wow,
next
making
month.
connections.
Yeah. So November 6th, in the Pascagoula River, the U.S. Navy is dispatched to this site in Pascagoula, Mississippi, from Florida. So they're coming from Florida to Mississippi, and
That's fine.
the reason this is an operation to determine the cause and nature of a submerged metallic beam emitting, disappearing / reappearing, course changing object seen maneuvering over the river. And if that was a mouthful, it fully is, because that's a direct quote. Submerged, metallic, beam emitting, disappearing, reappearing. Like, what? What's happening in the Pascagoula River? What's happening? I fully don't know, but they sent people from Florida to like find out. So this guy, Craig Dorman, he's a lieutenant commander. He's of the Naval Coastal Systems Laboratory. He went over there as part of the Navy SEALs team, and it was an underwater demolition. They were combat trained, and this was his total goal, find out what that is. So there was apparently some witnesses, 7 civilians and 2 military personnel that saw this. And he went and he talked to the Coast Guard lieutenant that had seen it, Michael Donahoe, so he would be one of the military personnel. And Donahoe said, and here's a direct quote, "The Navy was basically caught off guard. The Navy believes the observed object is something totally new and different, totally unknown. We were caught unaware and want to prevent it from happening again." So, this is what he says, continued, "Something in the water is causing that illumination. It remains an unidentified object, and we want to maintain a file as a reference for any future sighting." So the Navy is, at this point, engaging in a scientific approach to completely encompass this river and figure out what's going on. So this illuminated object was apparently seen by 2 twin brothers, Raymond and Raymay, Ryan. I don't know how you say that. Maybe it's Rame. I don't know. But 2 guys, similar names, twins. So they were fishing on the Pascagoula River, and this object was following their boat, and they kept trying to beat it away with an oar, I guess. And every time they hit it with their oar, the light would grow dimmer. So I don't even know what's happening with that. So the Pascagoula Coast Guard officers in a 16-foot boat actually located the object in 4 to 6 feet of water. It was moving at 4 to 6 knots, but they weren't able to retrieve it because it would seem to go out and move away and then reappear. They kind of described it as being an amber beam that was attached to a bright metal object, and it's pretty small. It's like 4 to 6 inches in diameter. So it's some kind of object that can move away and disappear and reappear, and it has light that dims when you hit it, and it's attached to a metal object. What the hell? What's happening in Pascagoula? So another witness, he was Officer Nations is his name. He was in the Coast Guard vessel, and they were approaching the Ryan brothers. And he says, "One fisherman was there beside the boat. From 50 yards, I saw the light lighting up the boat. It was a dim light moving in a straight line in a northwesterly direction at 4 to 6 knots. When we got directly over it, I could see that there was a light amber light source about 4 inches long, which cast an oval-shaped beam straight ahead for 4, 5, or 6 feet apart. Beneath the light was a metal rod and a couple of feet long and about 4 inches wide. The Ryan brothers chased it around their boat and reached it again before we did. They beat it with their oars." So 3 boats start chasing it. So we've got the Coast Guard, we got the Ryans, and another Coast Guard. each boat tried to get on top of it, and they each saw it, like they said it looked like stainless steel, and it lit up, and then it went. They were trying to hit it with oars. The light would go out, and then it would be in a different place again. And at 10 p.m., they couldn't find it anymore. So here's the crazy, crazy, crazy thing. At 8 p.m., Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker were fishing at about the same location. And the 8 p.m. October 11th. So this is 4 days later, right? Because that was the 7th. No, it was the 6th. So it was 5 days later. But this is the same general area. And so they're kind of referring to them at this point as Pascagoula entities, whatever that can mean. But I don't know. I don't know what it is. It could just be some kind of alien technology scouting out their technology, seeing what's going on. It could be, I don't know. What do you think it is?
I think that those were no aliens. Like, that was something else. Like, I don't know. It kind of it takes me back to either like Missing 411 or like cryptids. Like, like you were saying, like if you touched it, it disappeared, or like it became more dim. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Do you know anglerfish? Like, I'm just thinking of some kind of creature that's trying to like lure. I don't know.
But they said it was metallic and that they couldn't catch it, and it would disappear and reappear like further away.
I don't know.
Like,
it doesn't
what can
scream,
move that fast?
I don't know. It doesn't scream alien to me.
Okay.
I don't know. But that's creepy. I'm more creeped out than like curious. I'm just like, oh. I can picture myself in their shoes, and that sounds terrifying.
It really, really does. So I don't actually have 3 cases. I actually am covering the same case, but from the perspective of just the twins. So
okay.
I'm actually glad, though, because it kind of makes more sense. So, let's see. So they're fishing, right? We got these two twins fishing, and they're out there and they're looking. They're on a boat, and apparently they both had 2 kids there, which is not something that I was aware of. But they see the bright light in the water, and they quickly go and they try to like get to it. And then as they approach, the light dimmed, and then this is when all the mayhem with the oar started occurring. And so he actually gives a greater detail. One of the brothers, I think it's Raymond. Yeah, it's Raymond. So he says, it looked like the rounded top of a parachute with lines like ribs running from a dark hump in the center. And the lines went down as far as I could see to the outer rim. He says that the whole object glowed a milkish white, and when the light was on, it glowed above the water. And he said it's 90 feet deep down there. So whoever was controlling it, if there was someone controlling it, they knew how deep the water was and how to get away and how to maneuver it. So this isn't an abduction, but it's something weird. And he says that none of them suffered from anything after this. Like, they didn't have any like sicknesses or anything. Everything seemed to be fine. But he did have one weird experience with this object. So he says that he felt the urge to strip off his clothes and jump into the water to like get a look and see it. But he didn't do it.
The thing just wanted to like get him naked.
Yeah, exactly. It's better for probing. And then we have another witness who was on duty at the Coast Guard headquarters at this point, Charles Cruz. And he was asked about this UFO, and he talked to Ryan and his son, one of the twins, and they kind of had a conversation about it. Cruz was on a 16-foot fiberglass Coast Guard boat to go find where that object was seen. And so they do actually end up seeing it, and this is at 9:45 p.m., so it's still the same day. So this is after the original conversation we had. So he says the light was about 3 feet by 4 feet. So this is a different, well, I guess no. So that's kind of the same, and it was oval shaped and it passed under the fishing boats. And he said that he could see the light was reflecting off a metallic object, and then it was moving at the same speed on the same course. So, what happens next? He sits still on the boat for about 2 minutes, watching it move further and further away, and then it reappears further and further away, still at the same course. And then at 11 p.m., it was gone. So, I don't know. I just don't know.
I'm just kind of puzzled. Like, this just doesn't sound like anything that we've talked about or read about before, does it?
Yeah. But it also doesn't seem completely out of the realm, because just a couple days later, there's an abduction. You know what I mean? And I don't think there would be enough time for, like, these two dudes who are working at the shipyard to, like, hear about this and formulate their own plan or something and stick with it for that many years. Like, I think something had to be going on, that there has to be a correlation here. So I feel, like, very inclined to be like, maybe it is something related to aliens, but probably not a ship.
I don't know. I'm kind of sticking to my missing 411 shit. I feel like there's something there.
You just think it's a little monster?
I mean, I don't know if it's like I don't know if it's like the Loch Ness monster or Bigfoot. I doubt it. It's not. But like, it's, I don't know. It sounds cryptidy to me. So, again, like something was just kind of like playing a show or playing a trick to like lure something or someone.
But 3 ships? 7 witnesses and 2 military professionals? I'm just saying.
What do you think, Shannon?
I have a theory. I think that it was some kind of like camera scouting device. They were searching and investigating our ecosystem, probably for some reason.
Ooh.
I don't know. Maybe they're trying to inhabit Earth, or maybe they were looking for something, but it's just too weird. Like, there's, like, what kind of technology even works like that? Like, we don't have anything that cool.
Yeah. If they wanted to like invade Earth, though, isn't that like a super lame way to go about it? Like, they're so like studious and diligent and slow about it. Like, where's the war and the?
I don't think it's about invading. I think it's about studying and learning for whatever purpose, you know? Like, maybe they are having biological issues on their own planet and they just want to see what's going on here, or they need specimens.
Could
for
be. I mean, for
you
all
know?
it's worth, I think I've already talked about this, but like, obviously, like, I think aliens are real and they're here, etc., etc. To me, they're clearly peaceful. Like, or at the very worst, they hate us, but they're gonna, like, they hate us the way like we hate ants. Like, you're not gonna go to like an ant hill and like just, I mean, unless you're a 3-year-old, just fuck with it. Like, it's kind of like live and let live kind of thing. But actually go further than that. I don't think that's the case. I think there might be some kind of symbiotic relationship between humans and aliens if they indeed are on Earth, which, like, you know, if pressed, I am able to back off a little and be like, okay, maybe they're not on Earth, but they've definitely visited some point, and they're definitely real, and they're definitely close by somewhere. I mean, hell, we have sightings all the fucking time.
Have you ever been to Walmart at midnight? Because I've seen a couple aliens there.
Do tell.
Yeah, all kinds of weird shit, you know? People who are wearing, like, platform shoes with springs built in the sole. I'm like, interesting choice.
You aren't from this planet. You are caught. Red fucking flag, dude. Take the human costume off. I'm taking you in.
Like, has anyone proposed that Ryan Gosling is actually an alien? Because all his behaviors don't seem like something.
Yeah, really strange. Oh my god, what's this celebrity? Oh my god, I can't think. I think he was like a judge. No. He's like on Good Morning America. Al Rourke, is that his name? Anyway, oh my god, I'll show you later. But like, there's this like like daytime TV host that like he was doing like a segment at some point with like, a couple of his co-hosts. I think it was for like a morning show, and they caught him like there's this footage of him just like staring intently into the camera for like 45 seconds straight, and people thought that like he legit is either an alien or like an Illuminati clone, and like his MK mind control like was wearing off or something. Like something was going on. It's crazy. I'll show you later.
That's so funny.
I'm gonna make a note of it because I always say I'm gonna show you stuff and then I totally forget. So I wrote it down. Okay. Go ahead.
Wait, I'm so sorry. I have
No.
another tangent. Did you see that video where Lana Del Rey is at a concert with some guy? I don't know who it was, but I just know Lana Del Rey. But she's just like staring off into space. Or maybe it's a different video. She was
I'm
singing
pretty
with
sure
some
staring
girls,
off
I
into
think,
space is just what
and-
she does. She's like distant and
No. But it was her turn to sing, and she was just staring off into space, and they were like waiting for her to start singing, and she just was like, ah. And it was like the funniest thing ever, because it took forever for her to realize, and then she started singing. Like, I think that she's also a clone.
I honestly
Like,
think no. I think it's far less interesting. With Lana Del Rey, I think she's either coked out or like just super tired.
good for her, honestly. We stand. At least I stand.
Yeah, no,
Lana.
she's great. Everyone go stream Normal fucking Rockwell, please. Especially her cover of
Yeah.
Sublime's Doing Time's fucking good. Anyway, okay, enough. People get it. We're gay. Okay, so thank you for those cases. Those were really interesting. Bigfoot's fucking out there, dude. Whatever. I I have just one extensive case. Boy, oh boy, like researching this was a fucking rabbit hole. So this is, and I loved, like initially I picked it because I was like, oh, it's one of the early ones. Like I'm talking earlier than even Betty and Arnold. Was it Arnold? Oh my god, am I saying? Yeah, Bernie. No, Bernie was the guy's name. Bernie and Arnold. Oh my god, Bernie's gay lover. No,
No, it was
Barney and Betty Hill.
Hill.
It was Barney, Betty, and Barney's lover Arnold. So.
You call yourself an alien stan.
So it's before this, because I was in the early 60s. This is in the late 50s. So I'm going to be talking about Antonio Villas Boas. This is a Brazilian man who was allegedly abducted by aliens and made to fucking alien, mind you, back in 1957. Get ready for this one. This is going to be good. Okay. So, once upon a time, no. So, 1957. I'm actually going to start with you. Okay, actually, oh my god, before I start the case at all, everyone, thank you for 10,000 downloads. We posted about it on our Twitter. We are ecstatic. We are so happy. Like, it's just a number, but it still feels good. It feels like warm inside. So, thank you everyone for 10,000 downloads. I know if that sounded weird, but
You
thank
know what
you.
it feels like?
What?
You know what it feels like, Andre? It feels like the long, spindly finger of a gray alien.
I figure, I imagine that feels a little nice, doesn't it? Just in the back of your neck.
Just a little bit.
That's really cool. No, like, okay, in all seriousness, if you do the math, like, that means that unless we have 10,000 people that have just listened to us once only, like, that means that we have, more realistically, 250 to 300 listeners that constantly listen if we have 40 episodes and 10,000 downloads. So to all those people that like we've never heard from, honestly, we stand you. We don't care that you don't talk to us. Like, you don't have to interact with us on social media. Just the fact that you're like remotely and just quietly listening to some strangers on the internet in your bedroom is honestly so endearing. So to all those 250 of you at least, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And of all of you 250 so odd people, raise your hand if you're writing your senior thesis on gay culture, and that's why you're here.
That's good. I like that. Oh my god, have you ever seen that meme of Justin Bieber? He was like doing an interview 10 years ago, and the interviewer laughs. She has a weird laugh. She's like, and Justin Bieber's like, I like that laugh. And he like imitates her, and it's so fucking rude, but it's so funny. I'll send that to you. Okay, making a note.
So awkward.
Justin Bieber video. Perfect. Okay, so Antonio Villas Boas. Back to the case. Okay, so it's 1957. The Beatles are not a thing yet. It's Brazil anyway, so they're not a thing yet for sure. And this guy, I'm gonna start with you with the aftermath. This guy, Antonio Villas Boas, he is exhibiting some strange symptoms. So among his symptoms are, and these are quotes straight from the article. This is an article called "The Famous Abduction of Antonio Villas Boas: Alien Sexual Deviance" by Terry Mellinson. So thank you, Terry. This article's gold, seriously. The guy had pains throughout the body, nausea, headaches, loss of appetite. He had ceaselessly burning sensations in the eyes, cutaneous lesions of the slightest of light bruising, etc., etc. Here's a really gross one. He, when you touched him, he felt pain, and he had a couple orifices on his bodies that were basically had pus, to summarize, and like around, but like the orifices were like violet around them, like the outer of them was like purple. It's weird. And a researcher, and a professor of medicine at like a Brazilian university. His name was Olavo T. Fontes. So Olavo was like, dude, I think you have like radiation illness, because these symptoms are very like telltale. And Tony was like, lit. No, he wasn't, but he was like, I'm scared and I want to die. Okay, so I'm gonna stop there. So these are, just keep that in mind, because now we're gonna go into the experience. So what could have possibly caused Antonio to have all these terrible, terrible symptoms? Okay, we're still in 1957. So what happens? Actually, before like the actual night of the event, apparently this guy, he lived in a farm with his family. He was 20 something at the time. It's not super important, but he was a young man at this time, and he was working at his family's farm, so he was helping them as a farmhand. Again, 1950s Brazil. He had been experiencing a couple of strange occurrences a couple nights prior to the actual abduction. He had seen really bright lights in the sky. One night before the abduction, there was this really bright white light that he claims literally chased him like 100 yards, just like straight up. He started running from it, and he saw the light was like moving after him. So he was like, "That's no star. That's no plane." So he was freaked out. Okay, the night of the actual abduction. So he was working the fields alone that night. This was, it doesn't actually specify, but it is sometime in the fall of 1957. Was this? Yes. Okay, so he was working the fields alone that night, and he saw this strange light that he had seen the night before. Except this time, I mean, I don't know how he knows it was the same light, if it was a different color, but he says it was the same light, but that this time it was red. It was red, and it was starting to zoom towards him at quote-unquote remarkable speed. In fact, so quickly that it was on top of me before I could even make up my mind on what to do about it. That is fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
So about 160 feet above his head, the thing stops, and this light apparently was so intense that the guy couldn't see his tractor's headlights through the red light, even though it was 1 a.m. in the morning. Like, this thing was fucking bright. The guy said that it looked like, quote unquote, a large elongated egg, with several technical features about it. Apparently this thing had 3 legs, and of course it starts settling into land, like it's 160 feet above him. It starts like descending, and then the 3 legs, I mean, just like any Hollywood movie, the legs come out, the thing starts like touching ground, and the guy like immediately runs to his tractor, fucking like terrified, and Antonio like reaches his
me running to my tractor.
Reaches his tractor, but the tractor's lights die. He then tries to get out of the tractor. He's like, okay, well, I can't escape in this. I guess I'm gonna just run towards my house. But his arm is grabbed by a small figure. This is a quote: "A small figure that reached to my shoulder in strange clothes, which he violently shoved away. Then 3 other small figures surrounded him and lifted him off the ground by the arms." So, floating aliens once more. I mean, I'm guessing this is more like, you know, like when they put the light on you and then you start floating. So maybe it's the light, you know, like the movies. Like the light is the one that does the gravity trick, not the actual aliens themselves.
Yeah.
So these sound like, to me, these sound like regular Greys, except for one exception. The lady that he has to fuck, basically. But
Whoa.
Yeah, like I mean, it's weirdly consensual, actually. Trust me. But anyway, like yeah, the alien that they make him like, basically, that one like looks like a lady, but like a human. But I think these are grays. Like the rest of
Are
the
you
crew,
sure
at
it's
least.
not?
What?
Are you sure it's not just a manatee? Because like sailors would have sex with manatees because they thought they were women. You know,
That
like,
is not
it might have been a
true.
manatee in the sky.
That is not true. What was that? Is that like a historical fact?
It is, except I think that they were like drunk, and I don't think it was consensual. I don't think the manatees were asking for it.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Okay, if they're drunk and that actually happened, that is crazy. Because like I've never met someone who's so drunk that it's like this, like blob of fat with teeth is a human. Like okay,
Well, they were out at sea for so long that they were just like, you know,
that's crazy.
that's close enough, which is fully
guess.
gross, but
Well, on that note, anyway, this guy gets on the craft, right? They lift him up, and he's like, oh my god, like I don't stand, I'm really scared. So all of the aliens, he describes them as having worn very tight-fitting siren suits made of soft, thick, unevenly striped gray material. To me, this sounds like alien cosplay at a gay club, but I'm not judging. Apparently, their clothes reach right up to their necks, turtlenecks are fucking lame, by the way. That's what 2003. Where they joined to a kind of helmet made of a gray material that looked stiffer and was strengthened back at nose level. There's a lot more description of the garments that these aliens wore, but I'm not gonna go into all of it. I mean, okay. This is still something that I should point out, though. Like, this is good. This guy is so specific, and, like, his retelling of the experience is so detailed that this is often why even the most conservative of ufologists consider this to have been a real experience, which is really special when you consider, which is really surprising considering that, like, the guy claims that he fucked an alien. So, like that's so outrageous, but again, the fact that he's so detailed in his retelling, ufologists are like, listen, like, it has to be real. So I guess you did fuck an alien. Holy shit.
how come you didn't have the similar reaction when I sent you that video about that guy claiming he had been raped by a female Bigfoot?
I listen, I have no comment at the moment, okay? I might touch on that later.
Okay,
but...
that's fair. Okay, I didn't think it was very convincing either, but his pain seemed very genuine.
I know.
So
I mean, I'm not laughing at the guy's pain. Like, I'm just laughing at Shannon's question because he just came out of the blue and it's like... So, this guy, again, describes, like, in detail what this guy's wore, what they look like. I guess I can go a little bit in detail on, like, their actual faces. He says that all of them had light-colored eyes that looked blue, but he couldn't, like, vouch for that because I guess they were, like, changing color all the time. Above their eyes, they had, like, really tall helmets. Okay, so this is kind of creepy. So, he says that these helmets were really tall, not wide, but just tall, and that he thinks that there was dead ass something placed on top of their heads, and that was what the helmet, like yeah, like straight. So like they were wearing helmets on their heads, but I guess they didn't have visors, so he could see their eyes only. But okay, so again, picture like an astronaut helmet or just a whatever. Sorry, yeah, I'm not explaining well. Like, I guess they were wearing like full head helmets, like a motorcycle helmet, not like a bike helmet. So you couldn't see their faces except for their eyes. And then at the top, it was like this pointy fucking thing. And he thinks that there was something hiding in there. Now, I want you to speculate because that creeps me out so much. What do you think they had there?
I don't know.
Ooh.
I feel like you could be right.
Just like their brain.
I just think it's too weird.
Or like their kids, like their babies. I don't know.
Maybe it's not even like that simple because like we talk a lot about how we don't even know what we can imagine aliens look like. Maybe it's like their like ass. Like maybe their ass is up there.
Maybe it's their ass. Like, have you ever seen Scary Movie 3? Like, legit, like when the aliens come to Earth and they pee through their fingers? Like, that's how they pee.
Oh, yeah.
They pee through their index finger.
Yeah, that's
like,
great.
Biology is amazing. Like, Mother Nature is just unexplainable.
Oh my god, right? So beautiful.
Okay, no, but in all seriousness, like, yeah, I mean, like, we'll never know, but we can speculate. I think we can speculate reasonably well, because like yeah, aliens could look like anything, like unthinkable. But really, when you listen to most testimonials, like don't aliens legit just sound like weird looking humanoids? So like I don't
Yeah.
think whatever they have on top of their heads is gonna be like some like unimaginably crazy thing, because it looks like they're just advanced humans.
I have an idea.
And you know my
And this
theory
is a weird
about
one.
them being us from the future, so
Yeah.
and go ahead.
Okay, what if it's like a brain slug that's like operating the body because the body's not even like its body? It's just like a brain slug that's using the body as like
Ooh,
a machine to use.
dude, fucking like the Scooby Doo movie when
Yeah, absolutely.
when
Just like that.
what's his name, the little pup, oh my god, I forget, but like turns out that he's the one that's controlling Ronan. Oh, what's his name, Mr. Bean, like he's the one that's controlling him all along. Like Mr. Bean is just like a robot body. Oh my god, we stand. Okay, so
I don't even remember that movie.
you have to watch it, it's good. Okay, so back to this. So he describes them. That's what they look like. They look really strange. They place some tubes on his body, etc., etc. They had weird humps. Like, there's a lot of detail here. Like a full ass page in like font size 10. So, he says that they put some strange trousers on him at some point. I mean, they undressed him. They put some trousers on him, and then they put a oh no. Okay, so before I said that, so they undress him, put the trousers on him, then he finds himself being pulled up to this like flexible metallic rolling ladder thing into like a hatchway, and that hatchway closes behind him. He like even remembers what the spaceship looked like. He was like, oh, the hatchway, like it was so neat that like no seam was visible to the naked eye whenever it closed. And this is very like in line with alien technology that you see in like the movies. Like it's all very like pristine and seamless. He like talks about the furnishings of the spaceship, etc., etc. And then he says that his abductors grabbed and held him in place while communicating in sounds that had quote unquote no resemblance to any human speech whatsoever. He compared the sounds to animal grunts. He says, quote, some were longer, others shorter, sometimes containing several different sounds at the same time, at other times ending in a tremor. This is creepy as shit.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Like, I still think they're Greys, but they might be like a more aggressive breed. I don't even know if that's how you say it, because like they were holding him the whole time. They didn't seem very... I don't know. I feel like sometimes like abductees will get sedated and then sucked up by a light into a spaceship, but this guy was trying to run away and they were just like straight up, no, we're gonna fucking grab you and take you with us. Like that's kind of aggressive. Anyway,
Yeah.
like they'll be sedated and then they'll wake up in the spaceship, and it's much more like, and they're very dainty when they experiment on them, but these guys were like holding him straight up, like, yeah, and then they put like gel all on. Oh my god, my fucking mic like hit it. I was so excited. They put gel all over his body, and then okay, so here comes the good stuff, right? So they're rubbing him all over with this thick, clear, odorless liquid, according to him. So just
Ew.
alien Vaseline, basically.
Oh,
Which I guess is like really hot for the female alien, because like I wouldn't find that attractive at all, but I guess she likes them slimy. So they put Vaseline all over him, and then they prompt him into another room with weird inscriptions over the doors, like scribbles, like he kind of recalls them. I think he was able to like draw them on paper at some point. And then the article goes into the next section, which is called The Succubus, which is a great title, like a great subtitle. So, the guy says that he was left alone for about an hour and a half to make himself comfortable on this large, featureless, foam rubber light gray bed. Very alien, very boring. It sounds legit. In the middle of the room that had no legs. The guy felt nauseous at this point. He felt like he was being suffocated because, oh my god, I totally skipped this. The reason why he felt this way is because all of a sudden the alien started pumping this gray smoke into the room, which made him, nauseous and also suffocate. So he is rubbed up all in Vaseline and fucking choking in gray smoke in this featureless room. We stand. That's some weird fucking fetish, let me tell you. So then he's rushed into a corner of the room, and he sees a woman come in. He sees the woman come in, and he's like really scared, so he vomits. And then, but like his breathing gets a little.
How does he know it's a woman?
Well, okay, listen. His breathing gets a little easier after that. Okay. And then he describes this creature, right? Oh no, actually, before he explains that his speculation is that the gas was some kind of aphrodisiac to make his mind like uh to like make him like the alien, basically, because like when he describes the alien, now that he describes it like in retrospect, like now that he's talking with like the therapist or the professor or whatever, the alien sounds kind of gross and she doesn't sound hot at all, or not very hot, but he says that he found her like super attractive at the time, and also the timing like makes total sense to me. Like they pump that gas and then all of a sudden she comes into the room. I think he's onto something. So yeah, like he thinks that. Although, funny enough, there's a contradiction here. I mean, not a contradiction, but an alternative theory that I found interesting. The professor that he was talking to, he thinks that it could have actually been a chemical that allowed the alien to breathe without her helmet, given that the guy, remember how he describes that the whole crew is wearing helmets? But this alien lady wasn't wearing a helmet. So maybe the smoke was like a germicide so that she wouldn't... something that allowed her to breathe. So that's two theories. Interesting. Anyway, to this lady, she comes in, she's completely naked. The guy describes her as her nose is straight, not pointed, not turned up, nor too big. The contour of her face was weird. She had very high cheekbones, etc., etc. Pointed chin, very pointed chin, which gave her lower part of the face a very pointed look. Her lips were very thin, nearly invisible. In fact, I was gonna make a white people joke, but that's very old, so it's not funny. Her ears were really small and weird. Her high cheekbones were so high that it almost gave the impression that there was a broken bone somewhere underneath, because her face just looked like, think like Maleficent, basically. But apparently, like once he got to touch her face, he realized that her cheekbones were soft, so like fleshy to the touch. So they did not seem to be made of bone. I don't know. Like maybe she was like an alien, like sentient blow-up doll. That's not even like funny. Like it's just like maybe, I don't know. Like that sounds weird. Like you'd think this thing would have bones, but anyway, at least not on her face. She didn't. So her feet were small. Her hands were long and narrow. Her fingers and nails were normal. Good, because that's what you focus on when you're fucking someone. She was way shorter than him, and her head only reached his shoulder. Her skin was white, and she was full of freckles on her arms. He said that she had a natural female odor, but no perfume. And another thing this is a quote that I noticed, was the hair in her armpits was bright red, nearly the color of blood. And then the article goes to point out that a later recounting of this guy's story included the mention that her pubic hair was also bright red, which may have been omitted from the original publication of his encounter due to the sexual mores of the time. So, like, straight up, just think like fucking like Merida from Brave. Like, this is basically just like a pretty, like, in white, like, redhead, but also like, oh, actually she was blonde. I'm sorry, she was blonde, but her pubes and her armpits were like bright blood red.
What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
I don't know. Like, I don't know.
What the fuck?
Maybe that's like enticing. I don't know. I mean,
are you sure this isn't like a Penthouse forum letter and
it's not? It's
like...
not. No, I wish it was smut. Like, it's not. So, what was I gonna say? Oh, like, did you know that like there's a thing in like human psychology that, when the red and yellow like color palettes are mixed together, people like your brain like gets hungry. Like it kind like that's why Burger King and McDonald's and like all the fast foods are always like orange and red. I mean, sorry, yellow and red. That's like a thing. Like we think of food apparently when we see those colors together. Who knows?
Weird.
Maybe the aliens were like, listen, we're trying to we're trying to have you give her oral, so we're gonna paint her pubes red, because maybe that'll like entice you in some deep psychological unconscious level. Like, we don't know. Anyway, yeah, sorry, I get gross. Okay, so that's the description of this alien lady, and now onto the actual sexy time. So the guy gets excited, he recounts, and then he says that over the course of an hour, they had 2 sexual encounters and performed a variety of acts together, and then the women pulled away to leave. He says, and this is a quote that I found in a lot of places, I guess he was indignant recounting this experience because he felt like he was just a stallion that they were using to improve their stock, which, like, listen, if I'm already abducted and I have like nowhere else to go, Like, I guess, like, I wouldn't be mad if they made me fucking alien, because at least I leave with an experience to, like, tell. You know what I'm saying? I'm kidding, but anyway. The guy notes that the woman never spoke, the lady never spoke, the alien lady never spoke, and then when they were finished, a couple other creatures entered the room and called out to the alien lady. But before leaving, she pointed to her belly and smilingly, as well as she could smile, pointed to the sky southward, because they were in the sky, and then she went away. And the guy says that he interpreted this as meaning that she intended to return and take him with her to wherever it was that she lived. And this concerned Antonio and made him afraid, because he didn't know if she meant like if he was gonna like get abducted again, or if he was just gonna like, I don't know, it's confusing, like visit him, or if she was gonna like visit him with his like alien child. Like, it's confusing. Like, the lady was just like pointed to, like, rubbed her belly and then pointed to the sky. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Also, that's creepy.
What the fuck?
But like, obviously this is true. Like, what the lady I think meant was like, thank you for giving me a baby, this is what we needed for our experiment. I mean, don't you? Hello.
I
mean,
maybe she was saying
this was all super
Taco Bell
bullshit. Like, if this is real, obviously that's what it means. It was super fucking staged. They pump the gas, they put her in, they fuck, they call her out, she leaves. That's it. They let him go home. Like, obviously they wanted him for that. If you've ever seen Midsummer, legit, that's what I thought of.
Oh my god, did you just spoil something? I haven't seen that.
Not really. Okay. So they... Okay, so that happens, and he gets out of the room. He starts, like, looking at the spaceship. He tries to take something. He tries to take this, like, weird alarm clock-looking thing. But the aliens are like, no. Or rather, they're like... And then they shove him away. They take the clock, and which like apparently wasn't a clock. I don't know why the article makes like this big point about this object. I don't know, but he tried to take a souvenir. The aliens didn't let him. Then he walked around the spaceship some more, and then the aliens dropped him off at his car. That's really nice of them. And then they fucking like closed the spaceship, fucking flew away, disappeared into the night sky. It was 5:30 in the morning by the time he returned to his tractor, so it had only been a couple hours. And guess what the guy finds? He finds that his tractor had been sabotaged, presumably during the scuffle he had earlier, meaning that the aliens were smart enough to know that he would try escaping and that they had knowledge of how a tractor works because the battery wires had been detached. So, legit, like, before they abducted him, like, they did this because they knew, like, that's so creepy. Ooh, like, they've been watching him.
They knew he was going to run for his tractor.
Yeah. So... And now we go full circle back to what I was talking about at the beginning. For about 3 months after his encounter, this guy suffered various medical ailments, including like he couldn't sleep and all the radiation illness symptoms, like wounds, like headaches, stuff. So pretty terrifying. I don't know.
Maybe it's like an alien STD. I don't know.
Maybe like I actually thought about that. I was like, what if he has like alien chlamydia, like the alien clap? It's not like,
ew,
but it's more like, that's the alien clap. Thank you, everyone.
Wow, that's really crazy. I don't think my brain's fully processed everything I just heard because it didn't sound like anything rational at all. Like I've never heard of this. I'm just like really confused.
I told you it was a lot, and now you're gonna like dream about like red, like haired pube lady tonight.
Please don't. I don't want to dream about that. No, thank you.
So yeah, I mean that's what I have. It's super bizarre. Like I totally believe this story. Like again, for me, like it's really funny. It's really entertaining, but that's obviously not why. Like the guy when he recounts like what the spaceship looked like, what the guys looked like, and what the alien lady looked like he has so much detail. Like I mean, yeah, like any like schizo inclined person could make all kinds of shit up, but like the guy seemed pretty eloquent and like in it when he was interviewed only a couple years after this happened, and also when he was interviewed immediately after it happened. So I'm not gonna go with that. Like I believe him. Like his testimonial is long, detailed, it's good.
Andre,
I don't know.
Why Why do other people have to be probed, but for some reason he just gets it? Like, why does he get to have the intercourse?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I know that, like, I was saying earlier, like, that wouldn't complain since I'm already there, and, like, I guess it's better than being probed. But, like, is it? Because, again, number one, alien STD. Number two, like, you're gonna be, I don't know if sad is the right word. Like, you never get to meet your alien baby because it's still your child. Like, parenthood does weird things to your mind. Like, I don't. I mean, it's kind of like if your child dies, like the fact that you never get to meet them, like you're gonna feel sad, even if it's with an alien. I don't know. And also,
I can't get into this.
and
I'm feeling sick
also,
now.
like maybe like what if like I mean, thankfully it seems like it didn't. But what if like the sex with an alien had caused him PTSD? Like, wouldn't you rather just get probed?
It's all gonna cause you PTSD because it's still in a fucking spaceship.
I guess, but like. I love how I'm like completely flipping. Like, yeah, I think maybe I would just get probed. I mean, like, it's supposed to literally feel like a thin dildo up in there, so it's fine. Like, imagine
You don't want to lose the emotional connection.
imagine how like, dude, like if this guy had been gay and he had been made to like fuck this alien lady, now that would have been even more traumatic. Like. I was just thinking of like, oh my god, what if the aliens abducted me and they were like, fuck our alien sister, and I was like, boo, I can't. you better like pump some more of that gas in this room because I need all the aphrodisiacs I can get, hunty.
No, what you say is, I need your alien brother. Hello.
Ooh, they're like, we cannot collect sperm. Oh my god. Anyway, everyone, thank you for listening. This was an episode. We're gonna do more alien shit.
That's all you need to
fun.
say.
Yeah. I'm glad you guys are getting spooked with us this Halloween season. We will. Okay. This episode's gonna come out pretty close to Halloween, isn't it? What's Monday? Monday's gonna be the 28th. So I guess this is gonna be our like truest, like closest to Halloween episode. So everyone enjoy, since you're gonna be listening to this Monday onwards. And thank you for tuning in. If you have any suggestions for future episode ideas, DM us at Talk Scary, or at our Facebook page, Scary Talk. We will take any topics you guys have. We're so dry for topics. No, we're not. But we love just hearing suggestions. So go ahead and drop us anything if you have it. You can find us on any and all podcast listening platforms. We are on Spotify, Apple Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, etc., etc. And Shannon, anything else?
Don't drink and drive, party responsibly, and let anyone of any age trick or treat as long as they don't want to kill you.
I like that. One more thing, just like a quick segue. I wanted to mention this. I guess that they're remaking both Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street again, because they already remade them a couple years back and they were complete flops. But since Halloween, like 2018, was a success, they're remaking them again. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I just hope they realize why Halloween 2018 was a success. Number one, fucking Jamie Lee Curtis was back. She wasn't killed in the first 5 minutes on like Halloween, Resurrection? And also, the director was good. The script was tight. The dialogue was fine. Like, don't think it's because, like, 80s nostalgia. Like, that's probably a small part of it. People were like, Michael Myers in 2018? That's so nostalgic. # nostalgia. Like, but that's honestly not what made the big bucks. So, if, they, like, dare, like, step all on fucking like Freddy Krueger and Jason again, it's like I'm gonna be mad. Like, I hope they do them justice and don't give them just like this shitty fucking script again. So that's my final rant.
Okay, well, the Mothman is real.
Yeah, the Mothman is real. So is the vagina and my vagina. I love you all. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.